Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today we're talking about navy beans and how to prepare and freeze dried navy beans. If you've never cooked beans before, this process is going to be similar amongst most beans, not lentils, but your navy beans, your cannellini beans, your kidney beans, great northern beans, beans like that, pinto beans that have been dried that you bought at the store. So this process is going to be the same. First thing you want to do is open the bag. Just do them all. Just do the whole pound. Open the bag, pour them into a big pot. Sort your way through them to make sure there's no stones in there or other debris. There can be stones in there. Trust me, I have found them. And it doesn't feel good when you bite down on a stone with your teeth, okay? Look through them to make sure there's no debris in there. And then you want to add some water to the pot, swoosh them around a little bit with your hands, and drain them. And you might do that a couple times. Rinse them a couple times. Then you want to fill that pot with some cold water. Cover them well, at least a couple inches of water above the beans. Cover them well, put a lid on there, stick them on the stove, and let them sit overnight. That's all you need to do. Just let them sit overnight. If you have off on Saturday, off work on Saturday, do this on Friday night. Easy peasy, it's no problem. In the morning, drain them. Okay? Give them a good rinse. You could throw them back in the pot, throw some water in the pot, swish them around again, give them a good rinse, dump that water, and then fill the pot up again with some fresh cold water. Make sure the beans are covered really, really well with at least 2 inches of water. And then put it on the stove, bring it to a boil. And then reduce your heat to so they're at a nice medium boil to a good simmer. It doesn't have to be boiling real high, because if you boil real high, they might boil over. They'll form some starch on there. It looks like a white foam. There's not poisoning or anything. That's just starch. And that will eventually, you could skim it off, or that will eventually melt its way back down into the water. Either way you go. So you lower the heat after it comes to a boil. If you want to put the lid on there, cock it. Don't cover it completely or it will boil over. And just cook it until they are tender. And you can test them out for tenderness either by tasting one, or take one and pinch it with your finger. And when it's good and tender between your fingers, you know they're done. If they're hard between your fingers, they need more cooking. I can't tell you how long, because it depends on the type of bean and it depends on how old it is. Older beans take longer to cook than fresher beans, fresher dried beans, okay? If you want to add some seasoning to your cooking water, you can do that, whatever you want, except salty ingredients. Do your best to hold off on adding salty ingredients to your cooking of the beans. It's best to add the saltiness toward the end, but if you want to add saltiness in there and get some salty flavor imparted into the beans, wait at least 30 minutes into the cooking time. If you add the salty stuff right away, it can cause the outer skin of the bean to kind of seize up and tighten up, and it's going to take those beans forever to cook. It's going to take them a lot longer to cook than they would have otherwise. So wait until they've cooked a little bit before you add any salt to, or salty ingredients like bacon or something like that, or a ham bone or something like that to the beans. Don't add that in right away. Once they're done, they're ready to be eaten. You can use them in a recipe or eat them right away. If you want to preserve them, not a problem. All you need to do is drain them, put them back in the pot after they're drained, run some cold water in there, stir them around to get the heat out. You might drain them and then add cold water a second time just to help cool them down some more. This is why I don't add any aromatics or anything to my beans when they're cooking, because I freeze them and I do all this draining and rinsing, and you'd be draining all that right off. Anyway, when they're cooled down, you drain them. And then you can pack them up in freezer containers or bags and stick them in the freezer. Lay your bag flat in the freezer. Don't lay it upright so that they become one big clump. They'll be harder to break up that way. Just lay them down flat, let them freeze in the freezer, label it with the date, Use it within 6 months or so, a year at the very most. They'll be edible beyond that, but they might start to age and the flavor won't be as best. I freeze beans like this all the time, and it's so easy to reach in and pull out whatever amount you need from the freezer for whatever recipe you want, or to throw them on your salad. It's just easy, 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 and they taste better than canned versions. No added chemicals to them. So I advise you to do this. Try it with the navy beans if you've never done it before. It's not hard. For written instructions, see my blog post. The link is below, and all this will be out in writing. Do take care. I hope this helps. Bye for now.